everyone's been waiting for. The definitive, absolute, canon, indisputed ranking of all Fromsoft bosses in all games. Quick note, I have not played Demon Souls all the way. I have watched quite a bit of Demon Souls, especially since it's got its remake. So I'm quite informed on that. I did beat one ending of Sekiro. I probably should go back and play it some more and beat some of the other endings, but I have not yet. So some of the mini bosses might be a bit of an issue. I did beat quite a few of them. I'm aware of most of them. But like, there's a Sheena Elite on here. I don't even know who the fuck that is. So it's a pretty minor boss. So I imagine that they'll just go into the didn't play or know well category. Where did I leave my phone here so I can check chat? There it is. Apologies. But yeah, we're going to go through this and we're going to rank these to some degree. You know, I'm going to take a lot of factors into account on where I rank them. I think that for most of them, there's just kind of an innate goodness, you know, where you don't really have to question, like, where they go. You know, like, because you just know, you just feel it in your bones. Some that might be a little bit more disputed. I think there's some that I might like more than most people, and there's some that I think are absolutely trash. So, you know, it's going to be an experience. But we have Orphan of Coss. He's not going into F. He's going to go into S+ tier. So, I just recently started playing Bloodborne more, I would say. I'm streaming it multiple times a week at this point, I guess. And the first time I fought Coss, it was just like seemed impossible. He's very quick, he's very difficult. His hitboxes are just they're fair but can seem really janky. I didn't want to do that. But yeah, I mean, so in my opinion, he's just like, in terms of epicness, first of all, the kind of lore ramifications are very, they're very high, they're very cool. Just the background with Maria, Ludwig, I think Gehrman as well. Maybe it's Gehrman instead of Ludwig, but just the fishing hamlet, everything going on there. And obviously being the spawn of the beast everyone was taking advantage of is very interesting. And then just the fight in general is very epic. The one thing that bothers the hell out of me is that goddamn lightning attack. You know? And in the randomizer that I play, they kind of just get rid of the lightning attack, which is, you know, in my opinion, quite good. But every time I fight this as a challenge, there's always like, I mean, there's some bosses that I have it down pat so much that no matter what weapon, under what context, I'm just going to beat it really easily. But this one is going to be a challenge no matter how many times I fight it, no matter how many times I do it, unless I create a save state and just grind that shit, which I'm not particularly interested in. But this is like a home run right here. Love that fight. It's great. Ebrietis. So outside of Coss, Ebrietis probably gave me some of the most trouble on my first playthrough. I would say Maria's probably up there too. But once again, this is one that I think there's the reason why I don't put her necessarily at S. I think I probably inflate her quite a bit because I like her a lot. I don't think other people do. But I think just like in terms of presentation, she is just one of the most profoundly upsetting bosses to look at. She is just creepy as shit. She has creepy moves. She's got good lore in terms of the fact that she's one of the great ones left behind, right? One of the few things that I hate, the laser move is really cheesy. It's somewhat easy to avoid if you have the timing down, but it's just really cheesy. It'll just like fucking one-shot you. And the charge attack, they give you a lot of time, I would say, to react to it, but in most cases, most bosses, you just have to dodge like once directionally and you can avoid that shit. But that thing is just got the fucking most enormous fucking hitbox, so you either have to run out of the way or double dodge. And sometimes it can kind of come out of nowhere. I beat this boss a lot of times. I play and fight her near the end of my runs usually, before I go to the DLC, and usually I'm pretty powerful at that point, so I just kind of slap her around. But in your first playthrough, this will be very fucking difficult, I think, especially if you don't know a lot of the mechanics. But in terms of the actual presentation, she is top tier for sure. Not quite Coss, but Ligarius. I think he's a solid B. I think I might need to reevaluate that once I see how others are placed. I feel like you can beat Ligarius if you're strong enough, and you may not even have a great understanding of the fight. He's got some moves that are very parryable or easy. He has that one really long phase transition where you can hit him in the back, which is kind of nice. Just a lot of his moves are super shitty to deal with, especially a lot of the magical ones. The sword, if you don't get it shot out immediately, that's going to be a problem. But he's got his whole area just essentially just for him. Like, I can't even imagine. I did not play Bloodborne when it first came out, so I can only imagine kind of stumbling across this area that's fucking huge and then getting to this guy finally. And then he's even got the Crown of Illusions that help you get into the area behind. It's all kind of just very intricate and interesting. I think that the fight is okay, but he's got a lot of other things going on that make him just a very interesting boss. The area is just so cool, right? The Castle Cainhurst is definitely... I'm going to turn this down a bit. It's definitely a cool area, for sure. My experiences when I fought him the first time, I had a lot of trouble. Since, I've really had no trouble, and I fought him with any number of different weapons and kinds of weapons, and he's not so bad. Bloodstarved Beast. I feel like Bloodstarved Beast is like the epitome of average. Like, very easily dealt with boss if you know what you're doing. The poison is shitty. I don't really even know... Is it even a critical boss? I don't even know. I don't even know if you have to go that way, but really kind of creepy looking. Not quite as creepy as the Ebrietis, so can't win on that alone. I would say it's just a pretty average boss. No, I mean, like, you don't feel very much affinity towards it or anything. It's just like okay. You don't, from the other end of that, you don't also feel like it's just kind of a shitty boss they threw in there just for the fuck of it. So it's somewhat challenging on your first playthrough. I think some people might get hung up on it if Bloodborne is one of your first Soulsborne games, but if you know how to deal with it, it's not too bad. Cleric Beast. This probably area is probably going to be reserved for, most of the... He's more or less the beginner tutorial boss, so you can learn some of the... Or she, I'm not really sure what it is, but it might be challenging the first time you fight it, but you have a lot of... If you pick up the blood vials, there's 6 right there in Yarnum that you can pick up, and you kind of go through the area very slowly. You'll be prepared for it, and you can kind of heal through most of the bullshit. But it does teach you, how to do face breaks, limb breaks, all that kind of stuff. So I think this is kind of a good teaching moment here, which makes it pretty interesting to me. But it's basically a tutorial, but it teaches you a lot of the game's mechanics, so it's pretty cool. I think it's a little weird that they decided to make Lawrence basically fire Cleric Beast and then add some more moves, but Lawrence is an okay boss. Migalash is more of an annoyance. I know that Fromsoft likes to add their little kind of pithy bosses in there, or just like average bosses, ones that aren't particularly challenging but are more lore driven. don't know, Rom, the One Reborn, and him back to back to back seem a little bit strange. I guess the One Reborn can be challenging if you don't stun lock him. He's got some horse shit. But Mikolash is... he's got memorable lines. It's kind of interesting in terms of like lore implications and things like that. But he's just not doing a whole bunch. And then, even worse, you know what? I'm going to put him here. He has the Call Beyond, or I forget what the thing is, where he puts his hands up here and he shoots a bunch of lasers, and that thing's fucking impossible to fucking dodge unless you have the timing perfect, and it takes up the whole goddamn room. So he's just more kind of annoying. The lore is fine, but I just think he's fucking annoying. One Reborn, kind of same boat. Easy to kill if you have Beast Blood Pellets and any sort of buff. I mean, he's basically the Tower Knight in Bloodborne. He's got the stupid fucking chicks hurling shit at you from up top. You gotta kill them. Or you could just try to, like, you know, fuck him up as fast as you can. He can be hard. I give him points for being disgusting and awful looking. But I shouldn't say hard. He can be more difficult on your first playthrough, but ultimately he's just kind of annoying and kind of gross. I personally am not a big fan of this boss. The presentation is good though. Even if the bosses aren't good, Fromsoft does a really good job of making their bosses creepy, at the very least. And this is a pretty great example of that. He looks just like a steam of garbage. He's definitely better than the Rotten. Rotten will probably have to go here, because he's better than Rotten in the creepiness factor. Parl. I'd say Parl probably goes here with Bloodstar Beast. I don't think Parl is a bad boss. You can stun lock the shit out of her, or him. Which makes it kind of trivialized. But if you have to fight this on higher new game cycles, you definitely... It's one of those ones that'll be definitely harder because it's so fast. And in my randomizer, I fought Parl on top of Ligurius's building, and that was just totally fucked up. Definitely can hit hard. You gotta take advantage of when it goes out of its electricity form, and then you can really hurt it a lot. But I think it's pretty cool. I would have liked to see Parl be more of a main game boss instead of a side boss, because it seems like a shame that you fight these two and you have to, and this guy's just kind of on the side. It's not like Ebrietis, where it's like a pretty big challenge. You know, it can be kind of difficult, but not too hard. But definitely a cool looking boss. It's like a super abhorrent beast, even though, I don't know, the abhorrent beast might be more difficult. Vicar Amelia, probably in this too. Once again, if you aren't breaking limbs, this shit's just gonna be terrible. I gotta probably do a new game through New Game Plus 6 playthrough at some point of that game. I think it went through 3 or 4 at some point. But Amelia, she's very... I mean, the transformation is cool. The whole cutscene is very nice. I feel like this is your first... Like, you see Bloodstar Beast and you're like, oh, that's gross. But then you see this and you just start to understand the scope of Bloodborne. And the monstrous transformation is really kind of a part of that. I really don't like her Fist Slam move that has like a forward line AoE. That's totally shit. Not really fun to work against. Her, just like Lawrence, they have this back swipe move that's pretty shit. And you also kind of suffer from the I'm really big, and when I hit you, you're going to take damage shit. That shit's really stupid. It's just kind of a weird hitbox that doesn't make any sense. I'm not a huge fan of that particularly, but she's a good boss. I would say average. I mean, she's not a tutorial boss, but she's pretty good. I think probably when you first play the game, you're on your first playthrough, this is probably one of the most memorable early game bosses of the game. But she's not bad. The Howling's cool. makes a bunch of noises and shit. Once again, it just kind of adds to the whole creepiness or off factor, like you're in, like you're on a different planet or something in Bloodborne, dealing with things that you don't fully understand and stuff like that. It's a pretty cool boss, though. I would say she's kind of like the gatekeeper to the late game, because if you can get past this, it's kind of a huge hump. Amygdala. I don't want to be wishy-washy, but the in terms of like the bell curve, this is about right. She's average. One of the things, so definitely keeping up the creepy factor. I'm not really sure about the lore of Amygdala per se. Once again, similar. She's definitely below Ligarius because she has like basically an entire area devoted to her, possibly even bigger than Ligarius's area. But it's just shit. Like, not like shit in terms of like it was badly made or something. It's just shit to go through. So many Cosbees, so much poisoning, and you can get through the area like in 2 minutes if you know where you're going. And then just to troll you, they put a winter lantern there so that it can fucking frenzy you. Oh, that's real shit. And then I've always had a question of where exactly are you supposed to hit Amygdala? You can hit her hands, you can hit her arms, you can hit her crotch, you can hit her head. Oh, Colin's just sitting back and watching. Cool. I've done it where I hit her head, and that can work well, but it's really slow going. If you want to be real aggressive, you can hit her hands and crotch, which also kind of works, I guess. It becomes a whole different fight in the Defiled Chalice, though. I remember getting my ass beat by this guy. I think I just basically sat by her crotch and waited for her to jump so I could hit her head, or hit her fucking crotch. I think the Defiled Chalice, if you were going to judge it off of that, is probably a little bit better than C. But in this particular rating, we're rating like the regular Amygdala. In terms of the arena too, which I haven't really talked about for the rest of them, but I would say that it stays pretty much the same. Amygdala's is pretty plain. It's kind of cool how she jumps in on you. You also get to see quite a few of these throughout the game with, if you have insight, you're able to kind of see them throughout the world and stuff like that. In fact, they kind of play a pretty interesting role in kind of transporting you from place to place. But in terms of the actual fight, I don't think anyone leaves the Amygdala fight going, wow, I really enjoyed that. It's not a bad boss. If you fight it in the middle of your playthrough, you're probably thinking that it's not too bad, like I usually do. Creepy looking, though. Celestial Adversary. So when we get to Dark Souls 2 particularly, we're going to get to a lot of gang fights, and this, I guess, kind of falls under that category. It's just, it feels like a DS2 fight, like, in terms of, like, hey, we're just going to throw these guys in here just to have a fight. And it's very similar, even the location is the same, but in different time periods for Living Failures. And I think Living Failures are an infinitely better boss than this boss. I do like his noodle head. He kind of looks like Toad from fucking Mario, but it's not like totally shit tier. It's not like the worst fucking boss I've ever seen, but it seems pretty pointless. Living Failures, ironically, right after, they actually hit hard as shit. They have actually different moves, whereas the Celestial Adversary just kind of look at you and shit. But this boss actually, like, shoots meteors. They spawn throughout. They hit hard as shit. You can parry them. There's more going on there. And I think the lore is a little bit better, too. I mean, there are all these weird, stringy-looking motherfuckers that they tried to make into these motherfuckers, and they pretty much failed. But they had some magical power, so I guess they didn't fail totally. But they're weird-looking motherfuckers. There is, like, an element of difficulty to it, too, which makes it pretty nice. It's not like Celestial Emissary, where it's just like a foregone conclusion that you're going to beat it every time no matter what. You could probably do it fucking blindfolded, to be honest. Witch of Hemwick. It's weird that it's called the Witch of Hemwick since there's two of them. I unless it's just one that copied itself. You know, you got me on that one. But it's just basically a really shitty fight, maxed with additional enemies. It kind of serves its purpose because you have Amelia, which is a pretty tough fight, and then you can go fight witches, or you can fight witches before and then come back and fight Amelia. So in that regard, it's interesting just because it's a breather, right? You can't have hard bosses throughout the entire game, especially one that requires you to get blood vials that you have to replenish, right? So you need to have kind of some downtime. So I understand its purpose, but at the same time, it's a gatekeeper to one of the tools. I think it's the Rune Workshop tool. It has a whole area essentially devoted to it, other than, you know, letting you get to Canehurst. I don't know, it doesn't really seem worth to me. And it's also really super easy. Although I think I got bodied the first time I did it. I really didn't get the weapon leveling system first playthrough. I definitely struggled. I think I leveled skill instead of strength, so I wasn't doing as much damage as I thought I would be doing. Stop. It's definitely not like I think this is the worst boss of all time. It serves its purpose, but it's definitely not great. I think this is going to be kind of a tier reserved for ganked fights because holy shit do those spiders do a lot of damage when they jump on you. It's kind of fucked up, to be honest. If you use Beast Blood pellets and you know what you're doing with the Saw Cleaver, this thing is a one cycle, just absolutely destroy the motherfucker. Something to add with the witches, I'm sorry I moved past there. It's kind of cool how if you have high insight, they spawn these dudes throughout the area, which is, the area isn't really part of the boss fight, but it is their area, so it's worth mentioning. But Rom, so essentially they had to put you in this big white area that doesn't have anything loaded in it just so they could load 500,000 fucking spiders. And I don't think more enemies just for the sake of having more enemies is interesting. It's just like, it's just another fight. Really weird looking. I like the you know, the eyes and shit. That lends itself to the Master Willem insight type discussion. Pretty decent boss. I just don't think that having the bunch of spiders is interesting. It has about 3 moves. Like I said, these all serve their purpose, but they're not particularly great. Lawrence. I actually think that Lawrence is probably with Ligarius here. Lawrence is basically the Cleric Beast with extra moves, but it does have a whole second phase where he loses his legs and he runs around in circles and shit. Which is... I don't know, it's not really challenging if you know how to, like, work it, but he certainly does a bunch of bullshit. And, I don't know, the first phase is interesting because you stand there and he can backswipe you. He also has a 3-piece. He can also link that 3-piece into more moves, so you don't really know what's ever going to happen. If you manipulate the limb break mechanic, that can help a bit. But he's still very, very challenging, I would say. I had a lot of trouble with him first playthrough, but I don't know, I don't think he's particularly difficult once you know the fight, especially once you get to the second phase. He basically has fire throw up, go around in a circle, and then like 2 hard swipe moves. The hard swipe moves do a lot of damage if you get hit by them. They are like almost one-shots. But you can do a whole lot of damage to him and make him seem like nothing. He's certainly not Orphan. Orphan is, you know, even if you're spot on, you fuck that shit up. You know, and you can die. I don't think this is so bad. Every time I face Orphan, it takes me a few tries. Lawrence, it's probably a couple tries at most. But he's pretty cool. And unique in the fact that, well, first you have to gather his skull. You got to get the pendant from him. But unique in the fact that he is a beast, but he is immune to fire. So that makes it a little bit more difficult because you can't use fire paper, which wrecks most of the beasts on this list. I think all of them, actually. So at least it's a unique in that fact, and you can't just you have to kind of change your thinking and change your approach, which was probably thoughtfully done by Fromsoft to try to get you to think differently about the fight. Father Gascoigne. So I think most people probably quit playing Bloodborne within the first, I don't know, couple hours of playing the game because of this guy. 3 phases, which is kind of a dick move, because, I mean, it's literally technically the first boss you have to fight. I mean, Cleric Beast is the first boss, but this is definitely like the early game hump to get over. The first phase isn't so bad, but even to this day, the fucking long axe, that shit is fucked up, and it's hard to parry it properly. Timing is really hard. I would say that the long axe form, the second form, is harder than the third form because you can just bait out an attack and then backstab. And if you have Molotovs, you can just fucking dunk the beast form. Yeah, I would say that I had a lot of trouble early on too. First of all, the blunderbuss. Yeah, the area is a little bit interesting. It's a cool area, but you can get stuck on all those gravestones. You can go up the stairs and fight him there, but I don't know. I don't know if it helps to go upstairs because that just lets him shoot you with the fucking blunderbuss too. But he also has this draggy axe move that, in my first playthrough, I know that I had a lot of issues with because. We're going to talk about Smelter, don't you worry, Colin. But yeah, it's really hard to time the axe move, and that thing fucked me up a whole bunch. But definitely the lore with his daughter and his wife, who he fucking murders, is definitely interesting. The area that you fight him is pretty cool, and this is like your first this is like, let's go, motherfuckers, we're doing Bloodborne now. Mood Presence. I would say this is an average boss. This is like the what you've worked so hard to get to boss. It's the final boss of the game. I think it's really creepy the way it moves, the sounds it makes, it click, 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 click. It's a giant fucking alien monster fucking thing. It is somewhat easy, especially because it hits you with that move that gets you to 1 HP, but you can just rally it all back if you just smack her around a bit. Yeah, I can add a Colin fucking hates category. But it's not particularly a difficult fight. I don't think anyone should ever have, like, after you've beaten all this shit, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to beat her pretty easily. And then you get to become a slug, so that's pretty cool. Marigo's Witners. She's protecting the alien baby, which, you know, that's pretty cool, I guess. Like, alien babies definitely deserve respect, too, even though they're forcefully implanted into Yarnum. I don't know how Princess Yarnum got pregnant with Marigo. If she had sex with an alien, or they just, like, slug fucked her, or, like, put it in her body somehow. But anyway, that has really nothing to do with Marigo. This is kind of a just get behind her boss. Kind of has some weak ass fucking hitboxes on the back. Also, Michael and Colin, check your email or the ESPN League to see that league notice I put up. Anyway, but the Nightmare form with Marigo is really cool, but the thing where she just starts slinging her blades, it was literally one mistake. But it just, the hitbox is bad. Kind of hits you in a funny way. But the Nightmare thing is cool. And she's kind of tanky for what she is. She takes a lot of shots. The whole thing's kind of creepy. It's not this good. It's about average. It's average. Shadows of Yarnum. I think that's average too. It is a gank fight, so it could go in F. But each of these guys have unique things that they bring to the table. there's like a process of how you should eliminate them. There's parrying. Fromsoft being thoughtful about the like fireballs and how to avoid them and putting the headstone between you and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. I think they really thought about how they would make the arena. Kind of fucked that they put a pretty difficult boss on your first playthrough at the end of a shitty ass area. Because it is a shitty area. It's long and it takes a long time to get there. But you can manipulate it pretty easily if you fight them properly. But if you don't do the fight right, you're going to get some shit ass. Like, you're going to get fucking snakes coming out of the ground and biting your dick. You don't want any of that. The fight is pretty decent. I definitely would say that it's not with Cleric Beast, it's not below with these other gang fights and stuff. It's pretty decent. Gehrman? Okay. So I think Gehrmans are 1 S tier. Let's not talk about the actual fight. Let's not talk about the lore. Let's not talk about the sweet-ass arena, which is the same arena as Moon Presence, but I digress. That fucking OST. Boys, that original soundtrack. Boys and girls. Slapping. Bloodstarved Beast is in C. It's the first one in C. The OST is fantastic. His fucking line when he fucking steps out of the wheelchair to beat your ass. Tonight, German joins the hunt. German's just pretty much lit. I don't really love the fight that much, but the actual boss itself is it's pretty like this should be the last fight of the game, and it can be if you do the certain ending. But he's infinitely better than Moon Presence. Really cool. A lot of the fights with some of the hunters throughout the game are just really fucking difficult because they're so fast, and he's pretty much no exception. He also shoots fucking weird. That's the one knock I would not put him in S+ for, is he shoots those moon wind attacks at you that you can't even fucking avoid. That shit's bullshit, but he's difficult, he's cool, his weapon's cool, not to use, it sucks ass, I used it. But he's kind of just there throughout the entire game, and you think that, you know, he's just some dude in a wheelchair, and he steps out and starts beating your ass. It's pretty cool. Ludwig the Accursive. So in my randomizer, I got his second form for a full fight, and I could not limb break him, and it was the most fucked up, horrible thing I've ever fucking had to do. I actually just reverted to another randomizer so I could just get past it because I got really tired of it. But he's a fucking ex-hunter with a giant fucking sword that turned into a horse fucking mule man thing with 2 heads. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. He ugly as shit. But it's a hard fight. It'll take you a long time to get used to. You're pretty safe if you get underneath him. He has a couple of, like, he has the gallop move that can fuck your shit up, but I mean, you're more safe underneath him than trying to like hit his face or something. And then he has his own fucking cutscene, which I don't think a lot of these. Amelia gets a cutscene, but not a lot of these bosses get their own cutscene, especially in a phase transition. And he gets the Moonlight Greatsword, and he's got a lot of cool moves with that too. I find them extremely difficult to dodge. And if you get hit with his slam attack, you are just going to get absolutely fucking one-shot. And if you don't avoid his spit attack as well, that shit is totally fucking awful. He'll just start stun locking you and kill your ass. But both phases probably could stand on their own as equal boss fights. The lore is really cool. I think like one of the prevailing thematic structures of Bloodborne is so in the game, men literally turn into beasts, but I think it's talking more specifically about the beasts in all of us, and how even good intentions can, you know, drive you mad and make you into something that you're not necessarily expecting. It's kind of a deep game, to be honest with you. Underneath all the kind of cosmic horror and stuff, it's got more to offer than that, I think. I think like Ludwig, similar to the Watchers in DS3, you know, you see the hunters getting splashed with blood, and they turn into the beast that they were killing, you know, whereas the Abyss Watchers were fighting the Abyss and then themselves get consumed by it. So, really cool boss. Oh, Maria. I think Maria is my favorite boss of the game. I think she has 3 phases. Yeah. So fast. So like she's like the Freed fight of Bloodborne. Very similar. Probably they're made pretty much at the same time. I would guess since the games came out pretty close to each other. I assume that the person who designed them were may have been the same person. You think she's dead sitting there in the chair, then you touch her, and then she starts beating your ass. The clock tower is dope as shit. OST is dope as shit. Phase transitions are dope as shit. The only problem with her is that AoE fire attack on her swords. Totally fucking bullshit. Incredibly hard to avoid. And then, like, if you get hit by her once, she stunlocks the shit out of you and just kills you. But some knocks against her could be she's easily parryable in her first phase. You can get her down really quick. You can build beast meter off of her phase transitions if you get out quick enough. I like her a lot. She's really cool. Every time I play her, I have some difficulty beating the boss. But every time I have fun fighting her. I never feel like, hey, I want to fucking quit because she's shit. If you want to see some total fucking bullshit, watch Lobos's enemy onslaught of this. 3 Marias all shooting you with her gun at the same time. Total bullshit. Okay, so that actually finishes Bloodborne. I'm going to pause for a minute to take a restroom break, and I will be right back. Hey, fuck you. Don't talk about my weak stream. All I do is piss. Anyway. So, admittedly, I have never beaten Demon Souls, but I have watched quite a bit of it. Both the remake and the original. Flame Lurker is going to probably be the best boss in the game. I think anyone who has played the game or has watched the game will tell you Demon Souls is not a game about the bosses. It is a game about the areas, and the areas are just way more difficult than the bosses. Flame Lurker is just like a one-hit beast, an apparition of himself because he is a fucking slug at the end of the game. Another issue with the original Demon Souls game is that it was very early. I mean, it's the first kind of Fromsoft game of this type, and that it just didn't really have the mechanical ability of the other games that came forth. I think Dark Souls in some ways struggles from the same kind of thing, but in the remake he looks really cool and has some good movesets, but he's very easily beaten if you can exploit him. This is a tutorial boss. I think Cleric Beast is better than this one. He's basically, I mean, I'm just going to throw all the... Wow. The fuck? Did I really just lose? What the fuck? Okay, anyway. I'm going to keep talking through it and hope everybody joins just back. That's shit. Anyway, he's basically the tutorial boss. He has the same movesets as basically every other, like, fat, stupid demon dude. So, he's just pretty much below average. Not interesting at all. Phalanx, if you have the fire to do this, it's not a very difficult fight. It's basically just a bunch of dudes with shields. Yeah, I mean, you just try to get to the heart of it and destroy it. It's just, I mean, it's just a Demon Souls fight. Nothing special about it. Nothing particularly good. Pretty much middle of the road in terms of that particular game. I personally don't have much affinity towards it. Tower Knight. It's a little bit better. He looks cool, but he's, once again, he's just the, he's just like the One Reborn. The thing he has about the One Reborn is I think he's a little bit cooler in terms of presentation. I like the Knight thing, but all you do is cut his heels and then he falls over, so. Penetrator. Actually, Penetrator, I said that the coolest boss in Demon Souls was going to be Flame Lurker, but Penetrator is actually pretty cool. Very weak movesets in terms of variation. Pretty on the nose, pretty easy, pretty unvaried. But in Remake, he looks dope as shit. I don't know about his OST. I haven't listened to it much because it doesn't usually last long. But also, Penetrator, you got to give him a point bump from C because he has a very sexually charged name. This one's going here. This shit is stupid. You have to go down a hallway and try to get past some stupid bullshit, spider webs. It shoots other bullshit at you. That it's more about just manipulating the area than actually the fight. And then he has like 2 moves when you get close to him. So, yeah, pretty bad. Dragon God is going in. Why is this in the game? You get past this really long area, and all you do is have to avoid. It's like having one of the giants from DS3 be a boss. He just kind of swipes, and you have to hit these things, and then he dies, or shoot him with these arrow things. Just terrible. There's going to be a lot of probably why is this in the games coming up because we're getting to Dark Souls, and I have kind of a chip on my shoulder because of Dark Souls. Fool's Idol's F, I guess. It's not quite like, why is this in the game? But it's more or less just like, we got this floating chick, and these ads in this room. It's kind of like a precursor to the Congregation in DS2. Just like, kind of like, why is this happening? It's just kind of like the pre-Man-Eaters fight. I would say Man-Eaters, though, I'd give them a C. They're fine. It's a gang fight. There's 2 of them. It's gargoyles. Now that I said that, it's a D. It's basically gargoyles, but before gargoyles was a thing. Can be manipulated in the remake pretty heavily. It's okay. It's not a bad boss, but there's not a lot of memorable bosses in this game anyway. Old Monk. I think this was an opportunity to show off their PvP, and I don't think that's fucking interesting. If you don't get a PvP, then you just get this shitty-ass boss. Adjudicator's an F. He's a big fat guy. Once you figure out that you can hit his fucking stomach and knock him down and hit him in the head, your fight's basically over. I mean, this is like the Rotten or any other boss that's just pretty middle of the road. There's like one gimmick, and once you get the gimmick, you can beat him. This was kind of interesting. Old Hero. I think it's better than these. He's blind in the game, so he has to like hear you to be able to hit you. Which you can manipulate with a certain ring, which I don't remember what that ring is. So it makes your sound even lighter, so he can't hear you, and it makes the fight a lot easier. So at least there's some interesting mechanics to it. The boss has like 2 moves, though. So it's better than this. This is just kind of like pathetic. This is super pathetic, and this is just like, why? Storm King goes with Adjudicator, where all you have to do is find the Storm Ruler and shoot these fucking giant manta ray motherfuckers, and that's about it. I feel like Leechmonger and Dirty Colossus basically belong in the same tier. I don't know a whole lot about them, but they're like the same exact fucking boss. Just some dirty motherfucker that you have to fight. I think they're both in the same area too. At least they maintain the same kind of aesthetic. Admittedly, don't know a whole bunch about them. I wouldn't say didn't play or know. I've definitely seen both of them. They're easily beatable. This one just shoots a bunch of fucking rocks at you and shit. It's not really anything memorable. I'm going to put this in the why is this in the game category. Basically, this guy just guards Maiden Estrella, and then once you kill him, you get past, you can kill her. Pretty much just a weak-ass excuse for a fight. Gaping Dragon. So I watched Nems do this ranking, and he said he never had a boss where he felt like did it actually even do anything. I don't think it's quite that bad. It's got a tail swipe. It does slam its head, which lets you hit its nub. It's very creepy looking. You have to go through a whole area to get to it, which you can get to it actually pretty fast. But the real boss of this fight is the guy, the channeler, who shoots a bunch of fucking attacks at you from on the fucking ledge. That shit is just fucked up. I do not appreciate that at all. But it is creepy looking at the very least. It's not totally pathetic. It's not worthless, but it's not really a worthwhile boss overall. Iron Golem, probably in this. I mean, it basically acts the same as Tower Knight, and you can just cut at his fucking legs and he'll fall off the bridge. He's okay. If you had to fight him like normally without trying to knock him off the bridge, he could be totally fucked up. Just really tanky and shit and hit you with a bunch of bullshit, so it's not that bad. I definitely would say these that are kind of worthless, I guess these are the worthless ones. These are kind of a little bit better than worthless. It's better than that. But not special anyway. Below average for sure. I'm kind of torn on Artorius. Artorius has sick lore. He's cool looking. His armor's cool. I'm told his shield is really cool. I've never gotten it. His sword is cool. He's got cool movesets. But the fight is pretty much just lackluster. The times I've beaten him, I've done one of two things. So you can either just put on big armor and fight him that way, and he's basically, if you have the right vitality and endurance, you can just beat him easily, which I guess is kind of a theme for most of the bosses in Dark Souls 1. But he has this move where he goes and he stabs forward. It's like a lunge move, and if you just wait for it, you can punish it hard as shit and just wait for that move and not try anything else. In fact, I don't really think there's a lot of moves that he has that are safe to hit on other than that one, because if he does the flip over, he can do a multiple flip over. He can always do that thing where he throws the abyss at you. I think that he pretty much is carried by his lore, his look, and Sif, because Sif is a cute dog. Kalayit, also put in B. Basically, you just have to go through a bunch of horseshit to even get to this fucking boss. Having get shot with the arrow and shit. He's okay. I really like the telekinesis thing. I wish he would have more telekinesis moves, but he could like pick you up with his fucking eye and shit and slam you to the ground. That's just pretty cool. He has this really jank-ass fucking low-flying move that just looks stupid. Not a big fan of that. It can hit you and hit hard. I feel like he serves as a precursor to Midir, and in that way, he's pretty cool. I feel like somehow they're like, Calamite is like the second best dragon fight in the series, and then they have a whole bunch in 2 that are just really garbage, and then they're like, okay, here is Madeir, and Madeir is kind of like the perfect. Madeir will probably be an A or S, I don't know. But Calamite is okay. He's just okay. Manus, however, this is a fight that's super tough. It's probably better. I think it's super hard. You can only really punish his hand because you can't really get too close, otherwise he'll just beat the shit out of you. I don't think I've tried fighting this with like full armor. This is kind of more like a roll fight. He's more challenging because he has some abyss moves that are just tough. Like super tough to deal with. Because there's one that comes out straight in a line really fast, and then there's one that kind of goes around you and then comes towards you, and you have to run towards the boss to not get hit by it. The arena is kind of weak. It's just kind of a dark area that you're kind of surrounded in. But it's kind of cool. You can fight him with Sif. I don't remember how exactly you do that, but that's a pretty cool mechanic too. You can fight him with the old doggo. And he looks super cool. He definitely looks worthy of being called the father of Abyss, for sure. And he's kind of a precursor to all these Bloodborne beast fights, which is pretty cool. Gwyn, I feel like you can't give him any lower than B because he's the final boss of Dark Souls 1. Super, like, there's super big build-up to him, you know? Like, this is Gwyn, you know? Like, this is what we've been waiting for, but you can pretty much just parry him to death. If you can get the parry times, that is. Otherwise, he's just gonna fucking grab you or kick you in your face. He looks cool. The run-up is cool. There's a lot of anticipation to it. I got my ass kicked last time I played against him. But he's okay. The sword is really cool. His model is really cool. He's probably one of the better bosses of Dark Souls 1. I think they did a pretty good job with him. I have a lot of... I think the DLC bosses and Gwyn will be at the top, and I don't think another one will make it past B. I know one for certain is going to be, why is this in the game? Oh. But we do have Ornstein and Smo. I'll put that in the A category. This is one of the toughest bosses of the game. Probably the most memorable boss possibly in Souls history, or Fromsoft history. Everybody says it's a perfect combination of speed and strength, right? The kind of interesting thing is for this fight, I think the natural inclination is to like run away and try to like pick them off as they come at you really slow. But the problem is that's not really something that you can actually do, unfortunately. You have to kind of just like go at them and try to avoid both their attacks at the same time and then get some hits in. So I think it's kind of like a reverse. You have to kind of work it backwards from how you would normally do it. Like how you normally would fight a boss in Dark Souls. It's like a retraining of your entire Dark Souls brain. They're pretty tough. And every time I fight them, I have issues with them. But if you do a strength build and you get the Dragon Tooth, you can just... And then there's also that exploit where you can change the like moveset of the Dragon Tooth and you can just like two-shot them. But this is a pretty good boss fight. The implications are really cool. They're not even really, like, in terms of lore, like a big boss. Like, you know, like they're not a Lord Soul or anything like that. They're just guardians of Gwyndolin. They basically guard a giant set of tits. So their job is definitely valiant and respected. But it is a good fight. Bell Gargoyles. It's okay. I don't think it's cucked or anything. It's fine. I have the man-eaters there, so I feel like they should be with them. It's not like... It's not stupid and pointless, and it's not below stupid and pointless. And it's not like, this is fucking dumb. But it's okay. It's an early game boss that can be pretty tough if you don't buy the the shards and reinforce your weapon, because you got to kill the first one pretty fast before the other one comes. Being on top of the building is kind of cool. It is a defender of a bell, one of the 2 bells that you have to ring. It's an okay boss. It's one that doesn't really suffer from Dark Souls being somewhat antiquated. You can still fight it and not feel like the original Dark Souls has some lapse in like fun levels. Hi, Ashley. Demon Fire Sage. This boss are exactly the same thing, essentially, but this boss has fireballs. That's all I gotta say about that. Capra Demon, they were like, okay, so this boss isn't very difficult. In fact, it's kind of stupid. However, we're going to put you in this really small arena and have dogs attack you at the same fucking time. So, in absence of any actual difficulty level, they just made it frustrating. And that's not a... It's not a recipe for very good, like, boss design. It's just like, and then it's probably better served as like a minor enemy later in the game, which is what it is. But the 2 dogs are just stupid. Dogs in Soulsborne games are just Soulsborne Kiro, whatever your terminology may be. They're just kind of stupid, and I wish they weren't there. Moonlight Butterfly. So you gotta like avoid its stupid ass attacks while it flies around and shit, and you can't do anything to it if you're melee. You just kind of have to wait for it to come down so you can smash it, and then 2-cycle it. So apparently if you're like a bug or something, you just get put in this tier. So I don't have anything to say about a Silent Demon. It's the same boss as this one. It's the same boss as this one, and this one. Pretty much a clone of that one. But this one has fire. I'm not going to put this here. It can be tough if you fight it early. But Pinwheel is essentially just like... It's Fool's Idol, but later. It just teleports a lot. And does magic shit. I haven't actually fought it for long enough to know what the fuck it does. Taurus Demon... First boss you probably fight after the tutorial boss, the Asylum Demon. You can make it fall off the edge. It has stupid fucking archers up top. I feel like it's got some really rank ass hitboxes. But, I mean, you can't really distinguish Taurus Demon from the other demons. It's just... It's okay. They all kind of belong in the same tier. Stray Demon, same thing. Ceaseless Discharge. Why is this in the fucking game? So, first of all, I'm not exactly sure. It has some lore. But I'm not exactly sure what the fuck is going on here. So you go into the area. You pick up the clothes, which the clothes are actually probably one of the best sets in the game for, like, fire damage and shit. I don't know that for certain, so don't quote me on that. And then you can just run to the beginning of the level and punch its hand until it dies. And, like, you can do it with just a couple hits and it does its whole health bar. I don't know what the fuck is up with that exploit. I honestly don't even know how you beat it or kill it, like, the regular way. I've never done it any other way. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. It has a gross name. It looks weird. Like, you walk into the area and you're not really sure what you're looking at. And then you're like, oh, this is a boss. That's probably not what you're looking for in a boss. And Ceaseless Discharge is then promptly followed by Bed of Chaos. So from what I understand, the area Bed of Chaos is in basically was the last thing Fromsoft did. And they were running out of money and just had to basically make the game and get it out. So the lava in the area is like eye melting. Because they just didn't have any time to, like, actually tweak it correctly. And then, so, like, they had this really cool boss idea, these Witches of Izalith, right? And they're like, wow, these could be really cool, and it could be a cool boss fight. And they're like, let's just make a giant tree that hits you with its arms into holes and makes you run through this entire fucking area all over again. I don't know. I don't know who made this decision. I don't know if it was because they were in a time crunch, but this thing fucking sucks. It's not fun. It's annoying. It's irritating. I think there's the only way to not get hit by it is if you're cheesing it with fire bombs or arrows. I don't know what the fuck this is. This shit is shit, is what it is. This is like, I have had to do that run back so many times, and I am fucking tired of it. And I'm not. It's pretty much the reason why I don't want to play Dark Souls 1, like, ever. It's not fun. It's awful. Nobody should have to fight this boss. I mean, I would have appreciated a low-effort boss like this instead. Give me the slug, for fuck's sake. But what the fuck is this thing? It's the worst fucking boss ever. I don't think there's a boss I hate more than this boss. At all. There's not enough terrible things. This is my bow ride show. Shoutouts to Mr. G Star 321. Okay, so we have one Lord Soul. We have another. I'm gonna give him E. His whole area is pretty cool. You have the invisible bridges. You have the weird clam things. You have the archives, which is just a totally fucked up place to go through, but at least, you know, it's something. He looks cool. He's kind of grotesque. He's got the crystal you gotta break. He can curse you. There's a lot of elements going on. But in terms of what he actually does as a boss, he just kind of like slumps around a little bit. But his lore is cool. He betrayed the rest of the dragons to help out men, which is probably a questionable decision. But here he is in all of his glory as an E tier. Below Tower Knight. I don't know about that, but whatever. Crossbreed Priscilla. I want to like her more, honestly. She has the whole painted world of Ariamis thing going on. The whole area. They're like, hey, you can fall into this pit, and there's a bunch of fucking bone wheels, and that's totally fucked. And then they're like, also, there's this weird, they got this dragon that's kind of like a dead, diseased dragon looking fucking thing you gotta kill. And then she's like kind of this cute little thing. She's like evil. She's also part fucking dragon. She goes invisible. You can check out her footprints in the snow to find her and shit. She's got a scythe which bleeds you, which is kind of cool. She got a tail. So if you're into like cat girls and shit, that might be your thing. But in terms of a fight, you're going to be really strong by the time you fight her, and you're going to kill her really fucking fast. So it's okay. I want to like it more, but it's not that good. This shit. You know what? This might be a... Once again, I don't understand. Gwyndolin... so from what I understand, Gwyndolin is a boy who is always dressed like a girl. That's just the kind of the lore background. That's Gwyn's son. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's pretty cool. It might be an interesting kind of entryway for like LGBTQ type discussions and stuff like that. I don't know. It could just be a tokenism thing and whatever. But if it has positive aspect, that's pretty cool for inclusivity. But in terms of the actual boss fight, you just run down a really long hallway, and he shoots magic and arrows at you. And has squid legs. First of all, I want to know why he has squid legs. I don't know. Who did Gwyn have sex with to have a child that has fucking squid legs? Second of all, this is the son of the Lord of Cinder, and the boss fight is just fucking terrible. I don't think that it's redeemable to either have a Lord Soul or someone adjacent to the boss, the final boss of the game, just be totally terrible. I think it should at least be okay. He's not even remotely okay. It's just trash. Like straight trash. Nito, another Lord of Cinder. I'm gonna put it here. All he does is scream and try to hit you from long ranges with that fucking scythe, and then hope that you get killed by the ads. I don't even know how you beat this boss if you don't have like the ring that hides your footsteps, or hides aggro rather. It's just totally shit. Like you just have big boners coming after you. You got little boners. I don't know why you're saying LMAO, but thank you. You got little boners, big boners, all the boners. They're just all running at you, and he's just going ah at you. That's it. And you go ah. Like, what the fuck? He sounds like Bobby Boucher's mother when she finds out that he's going to fucking school. It's just awful. I don't know. It's just like you expect it to be so good. He looks kind of cool. He comes out that crypt. You can actually get in his crypt and be like, come up and like, hey, I'm up in this motherfucker. All it's just kind of cool. Another thing that bothers me is that you have to drop down in his lair and you lose health right off the rip unless you got cat ring or something. It's just stupid. It's just a stupid fucking fight. Another Lord Soul here. I'm just going to put all the Lord Souls probably in the same area here. 4 kings. So if you have enough damage, you don't even fight 4 of them. I didn't. That's it. I don't know. Like, you have to have the Abyss Walker fucking ring. The medulla oblongata. Why did you take this class? I like the view. Anyway. So you have to have the ring to walk in the Abyss, which is kind of cool. Being in the Abyss is kind of cool, but they only really do it so that they can load 4 kings in. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have the ability to load them all in, so it's just kind of an excuse to have this boss arena. It's just not a very good boss fight. And if you are late in the game, if you fight them after Bed of Chaos, Nito, Seath, this is going to be the last ranking of the Lord Soul, then you're just really strong and you just fuck them up. And like, most of the time I don't even block, I don't even roll, I just DPS race these motherfuckers down, because otherwise they just gang rape you. It's just a bad boss, is what it is, honestly. Chaos Witch Queelag. I'm not going to put her here. I'm going to put her here. I was going to put her here, but to take the NEMS 38 methodology, she does have tits, so she gets a +1. I just hate this boss with a burning fucking passion. For lack of having any interesting like moves or anything about her, they just kind of like have her explode. So they're like, oh, you're close and you can't really see, explode. Yeah. And like you can try to hit the body, but then you get stuck on the legs. You try to be in front, but that's where she basically can do all of her damage. She just hits you and shit, which is pretty fucking lame. I don't know. I just hate this boss, other than the fact that she's a woman. Although it's weird, she's the sister to the Witches of Izalith that were in the Bed of Chaos, and she's an infinitely better boss, and she's just like a random spider thing that comes out, but she's a lesser witch, and she's a better boss than this thing. I don't even fucking know. Like, what the hell? Centipede Demon. I'm gonna put this in. Why is this in the fucking game? So, I was really bad the first time I played this game, but the way I beat Centipede Demon, it's really fucked up. If you stay close to the wall, right? And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but you stay close to the wall and it grabs you, it can actually clip its head through the wall. I'm doing like an anus fisting thing here. I apologize. But it can actually clip through the wall. Okay? And it clips through the wall, goes above the boss arena, and just goes flying away somewhere, and it dies, and you win. I was not aware of this exploit by any means. I was trying to fight it regularly, and it just, like, I was in the arena for an additional, like, minute and a half, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was just, like, looking around, like, where the fuck is this goddamn thing? And it just died, and it's like, you win. And I was like, what? And that was it. So it's also not really cool that, like, 90% of the area is filled with fucking lava, and you basically just gotta try to hit it in the head. But why do that when you can just fucking cheese it? Or you can actually just avoid it altogether if you have enough humanity. Just kind of a shit boss, to be honest with you. Sanctuary Guardian, it's okay. It's like, I don't even know what the name, it's half lion, half fucking eagle, half scorpion. I guess that's not half because that's a lot of parts, but it's part a bunch of things. It can poison you. You can basically only hit it in one of its forms. It's an okay boss. Nothing to write home about, for sure. It's definitely the worst DLC boss, for sure. Sif. We gotta give big ups to puppies. I don't even like puppies, but Sif is cool. He got a big old sword in his mouth. I mean, if you get too low, like his health bar, he starts limping around and shit, which is a pretty cool mechanic. The only other boss that I'm aware of that can do that is the old Demon King, which I don't know why they gave him that mechanic since he's a shitter boss. But also his devotion to Artorius is very cool. The fact that you have to kill him is very sad. He doesn't really have any moves, but he's a cool boss. He's a cute boss. We're on Team Sif. Ooh. Boys and girls. I think this might be my favorite boss in all of Soulsborne history because he gives Colin fucking nightmares. Just great. Just a great time. I'm going to put him in D, I think, and that's probably where the other Smelter Demon will go. I think that the whole concept is kind of, yeah, E-Boy, we're blowing up. We're doing okay. And we're doing this all in the last week that I'm streaming for a month, unfortunately, but I digress. We'll talk about that. Thursday will be my last stream for a month, probably, but unless something else happens, like, but anyway, Blue Smelter. I feel like we should just go get the other Smelter Demon because we're going to put him in the same spot, essentially. Smelter. There's so many bosses in DS2. It's just insane. Do we see the other Smelter Demon somewhere? There he is. So, Smelter Demon and Blue Smelter Demon, I don't think you can really talk about them individually because I don't think they make sense unless they're compared. Regular Smelter, he makes a lot of sense. He burns you if you get close. He's kind of a tough boss. The area you have to go through is one of the worst in the fucking series. I think that Shrine of Amana is probably a little worse. That area is pretty bad, though. Anyway, he has his movesets make a lot of sense. Like, he makes sounds. There's like, sound cues. But you got to keep on healing through the burn, which sucks balls. It's just a terrible mechanic. I hate it. And then you have Blue Smelter on the other side, who just makes no sense. He actually makes no sense. You have a terrible run-up to him, and he has, like, all these moves that are just got crazy-ass timings, and they specifically do it so that you're like, oh, I fought Smelter Demon. I know this boss. And then they switch up all the timings. He has these different moves. He's just really a nightmare to try to deal with. And he does a lot of damage, which is not really that different from the regular Smelter Demon. But he does a lot of damage. The way they look is kind of okay. I'm not entirely sure why you can poison them, but you can poison them. And they're not a person. They don't have, like, blood or bodies, but you can poison them, so there's that. Dragon Rider. We can just put this in a comfortable F tier. You can make the man run off the side of the fucking arena. So, I don't think I've beaten the last time I played DS2, I beat him legitly, but he's got like 2 moves, and you can make him run off the side of the arena, so he's pretty useless. Flexile, we're putting him a tier above. Kind of a cool idea, but you'll never fight the sword side because it's just too fast. You fight him in the bottom of a boat that's sinking, so the water level rises up, and if you don't kill him fast enough, you get very slowed. So at least it kind of gives you like you got to beat him really fast, otherwise it's gonna suck type feel. So that's pretty decent. Not special or anything, but they're okay. Right now it seems like the distribution is a lot for the bottom tier. Giant Lord. Same. What's kind of sad? Let me know what are you talking about me stopping streaming for a month? Giant Lord, he basically is the same You know, we can actually just... This one's probably down. Giant Lord has a little bit more... Thanks, Mark. Movesets and stuff. He's kind of tough on fucking SL1. A lot of these bosses are tough on SL1. He has this really stupid move that makes no sense, where he can take his sword and slice it between his legs like he's Roger Federer doing a between the leg shot. It doesn't make any sense. You think he'd cut his pecker off or something. But he's okay. Decent boss. I mean, there's like, I don't know, 40 bosses or something in Dark Souls 2, so he's definitely not the worst boss in Dark Souls 2. There's worse. Yorm is going to be in the same as Storm King, I think, unfortunately. And the last giant just stomps around and shit, and it's the first boss of the game. And he's not Cleric Beast, he's not even Vanguard, he's down here. Just stomps his feet and tries to hit you with his arm. Aldia. So Aldia can be the last boss of the game. I'm going to put him in D tier. He's a fucking tree that tries to hit you with his roots. I don't know who came up with that idea at Fromsoft. He's not really all that interesting. You kind of just gotta try to get hits in before he puts his firewalls up. He's okay. I don't think he's a very serviceable last boss, but he's here nonetheless. So there's that. Alana the Squalid Queen, another favorite of Colin's. I feel like it's an okay boss, but she does spawn ads, and I don't think spawning ads... Yeah, I've never fought it with Sigurd, because it just seemed like it'd be pointless. Like you said, you could just do nothing. She spawns ads, and one of them can be the guy with the bell. Shit, what's his name? Volstat? Volstat? And that makes it totally fucking cucked, and I hate that. Sin. Another favorite of Colin's. I would say Sin's probably a C. He's got some interesting moves. Some interesting hitboxes with his fire breath, too, if you're behind him. But he can be really tough to deal with. He's got tough skin, so you can, like, break your weapon and shit. So if you don't have two weapons ready, that can be a problem. But I have a problem fighting him every time I fight him. But I think, like, he's got that big thing going through his fucking body and shit. It looks like an arrow, like a giant arrow or whatever. It's pretty cool, though. Not the best fight with a dragon, but not the worst as well. He does like to stay in the air a lot, and that's his problem. I don't know. He does have that head swipe that I think is total horsecock. But Ava, the king's pet. Colin hasn't fought this boss yet. I put Ava at about a C. I have some respect for Ava after fighting her SL1. The real test is if you can fight her without seeing her. You do have to get the... yeah, I have Shadows in Yarnum and C. I think they're pretty average. I don't think... this is kind of just subjective in my viewpoint of a lot of different things, like lore and stuff like that. I don't think it's... part of the problem is it's a gank fight, and I don't think that's really interesting. I have a bunch of gank fights down here. Here. Where's my gank fights? Here. So I put them in kind of the middle. C is not bad. C is just average. So yeah, Ava, you fight... She's invisible unless you get the Maiden's Eye or whatever it's called. And she's very easily dealt with, but if you face her on SL1, it's pretty tough because all of her moves hit you no matter what. You have to know exactly which direction to roll. This, I don't think this actually belongs here. I don't know who this is. So, Lost Sinner, I would put in D. I don't know where it just went. There it is. I think so. Lost Sinner is one of the. I don't know what you mean by they play like an NPC. Could you elaborate on that? The Lost Sinner is one of the like terminal bosses in the Bastille. I don't think it's a great fight. You have to fight like you. So if you don't get fire, you have to fight Lost Sinner in the dark, and Lost Sinner is a son of a bitch because you can't lock on to her. On SL1, it has the worst hitboxes I've ever seen. But I think that it's better than like Nito or Seath or Four Kings. I think it's a better like terminal boss than those. Not a great boss by any means, not average, probably below average, but I think the random hunters you encounter are really hard, personally. But did you end up beating Bloodborne, by the way? I know that you were in the process of playing it while I was playing through it. But not a terrible boss. I think it's better than most of the bosses in Dark Souls 1. Champions... How do Champions Gravetender get here? Go over here somewhere. Skeleton Lords. This is a gang fight. Kind of bad. Cool. Let me know what you thought of it. Just spawns a bunch of skeletons, so... Mytha. There's some cool boss fight mechanics of that. You have to bring down the like toxicity level, otherwise she'll get you toxic and the fight will be a lot harder. You have to fight her in like all the bullshit. Throws her head at you. I think that's pretty cool. Kind of dislike her because she's mean to simps though. So, just because she's mean to simps, she's gonna go to E. Executioner's Chariot. We're gonna put her with Mytha here. I mean, cool boss idea. It goes around in fucking circles and shit, though. Yeah, I think that's either the Bloody Crow or Eileen. Yeah, that one is hard as shit. And if you go to Yusefka's clinic before you're supposed to, you fight another person, and she's awful as well. But yeah, this is just like hiding and then dropping the thing and a bunch of ads and shit. It's a cool idea, but it's not really well executed. Najka, definitely not in the average boss category. It's just like, oh, you know what? She's got tits, right? So I put her up one more. She's got tits, so I was gonna put her in E. She goes to D. But at least it's not a gang fight. She has some magic. She has some weird moves. If you don't know that she can come up from under and you can hide on the... right, that's... Yeah. I haven't really used the Moonlight Greatsword, actually. Yeah, she's okay. There's not a lot more to say about that. The Rotten, I'm going to put them with the other Rotten tier here. Pretty cool that you can cut off its arms, and it's got a little puppet that's controlling them up top, which is kind of cool. But it's got like 2 moves, and an explosion, AoE explosion, just to try to make it seem difficult. Ruined Sentinels, I put in D. A pretty interesting fight. A lot of interesting mechanics to it. Hard as hell your first playthrough. Like, if you don't burn the one, then you're going to have a lot of issues if you drop down. And then, obviously, the drop-down thing, it does take your health unless you have the cat ring. The cat ring is easily accessible. So, I think that it's a pretty interesting fight. I'm okay with it. I like that they have some of these, like, hidden moves that they come out of nowhere and do to you, like, throw shields and shit and do the spinneroonies. And I guess I can't really... I'm gonna put this one below that one, and because of Horsefuck Valley. The run-up to this boss fight is the worst thing in fucking Souls history. I don't know why they allowed this to happen. And then like, oh, we had one of these, let's just multiply it by 2. And then when you get to the second cat, it can also regenerate health and take no damage. And when you hit it, it actually just breaks your sword. So it's just a bunch of horse shit. Same moveset as this one. I think they could have just let this one alone and gotten a different fight here, but they were kind of lazy. This DLC, the DLC is pretty long, so I give them big ups for that, but the actual bosses in it are not my favorite. Belfry Gargoyles, why is this in the game? It's the Bell Gargoyles times 3. Demon of Song. This man looks like a dick in foreskin. And you have to wait until he comes out of the fucking foreskin to fight him. And it's like, you go through this really hard area. You're like, wow, who's going to be at the end of this large area? And you get like a weird dick frog. I'm not down with dick frogs, so F. Freya. You can knock off her face, which is cool. Really fucking terrible area. Pretty shit that you have to sit here and hold a torch though while you fight her, because it scares away the other fucking spiders, but also your damage goes down quite a bit. It's an okay boss. I would say that I'm not putting him any higher because they're kind of the terminal boss like these are, so it goes here. Old Iron King. I don't know what it is about bosses of giant areas, but they're not very good. He looks pretty cool, but all he does is slam the ground and breathe fire. But he's really big and imposing. And it's just like, oh, you got through this really terrible area once again, and here's just an average boss. Guardian Dragon. F. Just flies around the wall and breathes fire at you. You hope that it doesn't stop your head. That's it. Fume Knight. Fume Knight's cool. We like us some Fume Knight. Probably put it at B. It could be closer to this, I think. Let's put him in A. Fuck it. I've had some really good experiences fighting him. He's got some cool lore with him and his fight with Alon. The Fume Knight Greatsword is probably one of the more renowned swords in the game. The fact that he has like a heavy and a light. His second phase is tough. A lot of fire and shit. Fire circle bullshit, and then he does the slow circle with his sword. On SL1, he's pretty tough. But he's good. Is this just Dragon Riders? Or Dragon Rider? I'm going to put him where the other Dragon Rider is. I think it's the double Dragon Riders. We already had... you had this in DS1, you didn't need to do it again. It's just trying to basically cash in on DS1, and I'm not having it. This is not a boss. She appears in the DLC just randomly. I'm going to put... It could easily go, why is this in the game for the Covetous Demon, but he's just a fat piece of shit. And I don't really even understand his lore, because he was trying to, I guess, fuck Mytha. Where's Mytha? Damn, Mytha's actually got tits. She's staying here, though. He wanted to fuck Mytha, and when she wouldn't fuck him was like, oh, I know what'll do it. I'll just eat a bunch of food, and thought that was going to score with her. And it didn't. He just became a big fat piece of shit. And all he does is kind of roll about, and he sucks. And basically you're going to get hit because you're just like, I just want to kill this boss and be done with it. And then he'll roll over, you'll be like, well, shit, he hit me. And then you'll heal it, and you'll kill him anyway. Royal Rat Authority. I can't remember the difference between which one's Authority and which one's Vanguard. Is this the Dirty Rat? Okay, Royal Rat Authority is why is this in the game. There's just a rat with a fucking mohawk that you have to kill after killing 10 rats, and they can fucking poison you and stone you and shit. And it's just awful. I'm going to put Royal Rat Authority up here. They can also fucking get you poisoned, which is totally fucked. But I think that the Dirty Rat kind of looks cool. But he's kind of annoying as well. Oh god. Congregation, why is this in the game? It's just a bullshit boss fight that's really fucking awful, to be honest with you. I don't feel like they thought about it literally at all. They're just like, hey, we just kind of need a boss here. Let's just throw in a gank fight, which is not interesting at all. I think they could have done a little bit more here. It's even probably worse than Deacons. How do we have a Dragon Rider, and then another Dragon Rider, and then Dragon Riders? I don't know what they were doing here, but Dragon Riders is just 2 of these. One is a bow. You shoot the guy up top, he comes down, you kill them both. Easy peasy. You want to DPS this one down as fast as possible. It's not really a great fight. This is shit. This is a gang fight of 3 people in the Sunken City DLC in Shura. I mean, it has like the ability to like play up to like a Smo and Ornstein type situation, but they're not Smo and Ornstein. They're just 3 guys who are annoying as shit. You want to get to the first guy, kill him first, then this guy, then that guy. You can parry the big guy pretty easily, or just kind of run and smack, whatever. It just ends up being you running around in fucking circles for goddamn 10 minutes, and it's just stupid. The Pursuer, you know what? I'm going to put him, I think, at C. The fight itself is not great. You can shoot him with the ballista, but the lore is pretty cool, how he's kind of following after you the whole time. I think that's a pretty cool mechanic. And you can fight him several times. Real son of a bitch to fight at the beginning if you don't get the ballistas right, just because he can hit you and get you low really quick. But his moves are pretty predictable. And if you're really good, you can parry his charge attack, which I'm not that good, so. Dark Lurker? I'm going to give Dark Lurker a pretty good rating here. I think he's just as good as Fume Knight. I don't know if he's as heralded as like an Ornstein and Smo, but you have to do a lot of work to get to this man. It's a lot of bullshit. But the fight itself is pretty cool, pretty challenging. It becomes a gang fight very similar to... I would say it's kind of like a forebearer to Pontiff. Shoots a lot of fucking bullshit at you, has lasers. He shoots fireballs, an exploding purple piss ball of bullshit. I don't think there's really any moves that aren't really fair. And in fact, some of them, if you are close enough to him, he can't even hit you no matter what he does. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool boss fight. I don't have any problems with it whatsoever. It works. And that's really what we're concerned about, is that the fight really kind of works, where some of these don't, like the fat bastard, this guy. Burnt Ivory King, man, do I hate this fucking boss fight. It is fucking trash-ass garbage, and I hate it. I do think that it kind of belongs here, though. It's a gang fight at the beginning. You have to collect a bunch of soldiers to fight against the Burnt Ivory King, which is kind of shitty. But his lore with his wife is pretty cool. He comes out in this really epic way. His music is pretty cool. The boss arena is cool too. I wish he would have been more memorable in terms of the actual fight with him. But the fight is hard because of the ads, not because of him necessarily. But I think it is a memorable fight and a tough fight. Best fight in the DLC for sure. Looking Glass Knight, I'm going to put him in C because he just looks really cool. And he's got a really cool arena. The problem with him is that he spawns ads and he has a horrible hitbox. But he's really cool. Velstadt, the Royal Aegis. I think he's a C. Kind of tough on SL1 because of his long swinging hitboxes. Rings the fucking bell and shit. Is the garter of the king. Not a bad boss fight. I would say that it doesn't have any flaws, and it's not necessarily special, so that's where he lands. Ancient Dragon. Basically, if you don't know the cheese for this fight, you are fucked. And if you get hit by the fire once, you're getting hit by the fire twice, and you're dying, and that's the end of it. Nashandra. Some pretty interesting mechanics here. I'd say about a C. She puts up the curse fucking things around you. So you kind of got to lure it to you, or you can take down the curses either by rolling or hitting them. Rolling sometimes works. I don't know why it sometimes works and other times it doesn't. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. She's a much better final boss, I think, than Aldia, in my opinion. She kind of has the same look as Alana. I don't know what the design decisions came in there, but she's pretty cool. Her scythe, I mean, she's not a difficult boss, but her scythe moves are pretty easy to roll against, but she's creepy looking. She's got some extra things to her that make her difficult. I like her. How did Yarnum get here? Sir Alon is super cool. We're going to put him with his buddy up here. Yeah, that's the fight where I poke the dragon for 3 minutes. Yep, that's it. You're exactly right. It's a very stupid boss. Alon is great. I think he's kind of underrated. Doesn't seem like he naturally fits in the diegesis, but he and Fume Knight are like enemies, I guess, and it's pretty cool. Their lore is pretty cool. The boss arena is super cool, and if you kill him without getting hit, he does a seppuku, which is also pretty cool. Like, it's a pretty cool condition that they put in the game. I would say that this DLC is the best one. The Shura DLC is the worst one, and then the Snow one's in the middle. Actually, I don't know. Shura and the Snow one are close because there's a lot of bullshit in the Snow one. Throne Guardians, it's a gang fight, but I'm going to put it in D. I like it a little bit better than most of the other gang fights. You know, Ornstein and Smo are a gang fight done perfect, and this is like a gang fight done okay, and those are gang fights done terribly. So, King Vendrick, I'm going to put him in D because the boss fight essentially is not a fight. He just kind of slowly swings his fucking sword around and jumps backwards. But the fact that you have to collect all the giant souls is definitely an interesting mechanic that they put into the game. So I like him because of that. Looks like we're going into DS3, which DS3 is pretty much my favorite game other than Bloodborne, so this is going to be biased. Dragon Slayer Armor, I think, is a C. Cool boss, cool lore, like the fact that he's getting like controlled by the dragons and that he's got like a soul in him that's just moving the armor. I'm terrible at this boss. I always get my ass kicked by him, basically. I mean, I could even beat him, but I get hit way more than I probably should. He's got a really quick shield bash. Nothing special about his arena. Just kind of an average boss. There's nothing wrong with it. I always kind of forget that he exists, though. I always be like, oh, all I have is Princess left, and then he's there. I actually, low-key, like Gundyr. The problem is he's just not particularly special, but I think if you play Dark Souls 3, and you first encountered Gundyr, you probably had a tough time to start, unless you were a Souls veteran. And he leaves an impression. He's very cool. I also like this artwork. Yarnum the Giant, I'm not going to put him in the why is he in this game category. He'll be with the other giants. I think he's got a cool... We need to stop with the giants, first of all. We got way too many fucking giants. Gundyr does knock me off the map anymore because I have him down pretty pat. Especially after doing fists only, I had him pinned down. Yarnum, too many giants, and then we not only did giants, but then we also put the fucking Storm Ruler in that as well. So, Demon Prince. Demon Prince is a really cool fight. I'm going to put it in B. So there's a couple of elements here. So depending on which one you kill, you get a different second phase. There's 2 phases. You can kill it with bleed. There's a ranged. Oh, that guy. Yes, he knocks you off the map. Right. He does that to me every so often. Demon Prince. There's one that's ranged. There's one that's close. You have to kind of like manage which ones you're gonna hit. They both go into active mode after the first kind of sequence. So then you have to kind of run around a bit and then wait until only one's active. It's a very interesting kind of mechanic. Vort. I don't hate Vort. Fists only gave me a little bit of a more respect for Vort. He's not a difficult boss by any means. I had trouble with him my first playthrough because it was my first Souls game, but he's okay. There's nothing wrong with Vort. There's nothing special about Vort. He's not terrible. He's not great. He's just a boss. Osiris. D. I think he gets boosted from E to D because he's got pretty sweet voice lines. I like how he progressively turns more beast-like when you're fighting him. That's a pretty cool thing. He also has a bunch of... There's supposed to be a bunch of bodies strewn from his... Strewn from his ceiling in his boss arena at one point. But I guess they scaled that back. They didn't want babies hanging from the ceiling in there, which I kind of understand. But he's okay. There's nothing special about him. He's not average, I don't think. But he definitely has some cool things about him. Spear of the Church. I'm going to put this in the wisest in the game. This is very similar to Old Monk. They just wanted to show off their ability to have an invasion boss. And I'm not buying into it. It's bullshit. And then when you face him, it's basically like, we got this bullshit painted guardian here. You got to kill him, and then you can only hit this guy when he has his ranged out. Otherwise, he's just a total fucking menace. I don't like it. It's stupid. Crystal Sage. I actually think if you fight Crystal Sage really early, she is a bitch to fight. Because they just shoot a bunch of fucking magic around you. And, like, it hurts really bad. Especially early game. It's not a particularly amazing fight. You can parry, which is pretty cool. The arena's pretty basic. I think it's an okay boss. It's not, like... It's not C, but it's not terrible. Old Demon King. We're going to give that one a D as well. It's a piss boss. It's got piss moves. It's got a weird, like, air AoE thing that's really hard to avoid. He does this thing where he hits the ground and, like, a flame wave goes out and comes in. The Crystal Sage, yeah, exactly, like playing fucking whack-a-mole. Old Demon King, I don't even know how you avoid that fire move. Like, I've tried to do a bunch of different ways, and I just can't figure out how to do it. I don't know, I always go in thinking I can just, just DPS the shit out of them, and I never get it quite right, so I, like, go in and I die, and I go, well, shit, I guess I gotta take this more seriously. But he does have that limping mechanic like Sif, which is pretty cool. Ancient Wyvern. Why is this in the game? You could just jump off a ledge and then plunge attack it. It had literally no value after the first time you played it. Kind of just a shit boss. Champion's Grave Tender. It's okay. There's wolves. There's a big wolf. We give an extra point for Giant Wolf. Giant Wolf is cute. D. The Grave Tender himself is ass. It's just all ass. Curse Rod at Greatwood. I can't necessarily give it a C, but I think it's an interesting boss concept. Kind of a Resident Evil-esque boss. Where you have to, like, hit areas. Yeah, she fell twice on the... Yeah, so you have to get to know how to hit it on the head of the Ancient Wyvern. Otherwise, it's just kind of stupid. But yeah, Curse Rod at Greatwood, I think it's fine. And the only problem is if you go back to it, you can kill it, like, super fast. Especially if you have a fire buff. High Lord Wolnir. Let's put him in E. It's like Curse Rod of Greatwood in terms of the fact that it's an RE kind of boss where you have to hit areas on the body. But it's just not interesting. Giant skelly belly. In just a dark room that has nothing going on. And then in Fists Only, it's just really irritating because he'll never put his right hand down. Deacons of the Deep. This just makes my fucking Fists Only run super fucked. So, also, it's just not interesting. It's just a bunch of fat dudes and skinny dudes and tall dudes and then the super dude. Which there's a suit. He's always underneath a map, I guess, so I think you can actually poison him beforehand. Soul of Cinder. I have a little bit more respect for Soul of Cinder. I didn't think he was much of a boss, especially if you're, like, healing and shit. He's not that hard. But after Fists Only, I definitely see him more. He's got a whole bunch of moves that you have to master. Yeah, the Vape Lord is back. That's why he's in E. Soul of Cinder is just, like, got so many moves. He's really hard to master. But I have more respect for him now after toiling through him. And in the Gwyn phase is also cool too. So he's like kind of bullshit Gwyn, so he should go there. Dark Eater Madeir. I've been through the ringer with this boss. I had it where I was just really shit with him. And then I think he's probably S tier. I love Madeir personally. Great boss. Has a lot of cool movesets. Is definitely the best Dragon and Soulsborne. No question. Has those AoE attacks and those magic attacks that are pretty cool. And the physical attacks can be hard to maneuver, and if you don't know how to kind of handle them, he can be hard to maneuver. But I think it's one of the most rewarding, like, learning how to fight fights in the game that I ever had. So, it's pretty good. Oh. Lorien and... Do Lorien and Lothric not get the same? Okay, so Lorien and Lothric. I gotta say, I think this is probably one of my favorite fights in the game. Has one of my favorite lines. Mark my words, Ashen One, you remain one of the Accursive. That's pretty cool. Also, I think that it's kind of got a cool... I think the theme here is how Lothric was the lesser brother, even though he was the older brother, and Lorien was the one that's supposed to be the... carry the... or relight the flame or whatever, and Lothric carried Lorien on his back because he was the weak one, even though Lorien was supposed to be the big important one, right? And I think this is kind of an interesting kind of discussion about brother to brother like relationships, because I think as an older brother you have like responsibilities that you're required to do, and usually it's taking care of your younger brother, and that never changes. No matter how old they get. So I think it's kind of got a cool conversation outside of just the fight, but the fight itself is really cool too. Yeah, once you can manage the teleporting, it's definitely an easier fight and a better fight too. I'm thinking these guys are a B. It's probably one of the first hard fights, but it's not that bad. But yeah, they have a lot of cool lore. Like I said, their capes are drenched in the abyss because they're tainted by it and stuff. They got the whole wolf blood thing going on. Definitely a cool boss. Pontiff is probably going to be V2. This is a guy who kicks my ass every single time. He's not like a Lord Soul or a Soul of Cinder, but his lore, if you look into it on like a Vita Vaya video, he's like running the show, man. He went to fucking the Profane Capital and was doing stuff with the flames down there and shit. Really cool stuff. Also made Vort into who he was, and also made Dancer into a big string being heaven looking ass. I think Aldrich is a B. I think one of the things that helps him, he's got like the way he corrupted the boss arena is super, super cool. Sekiro is a From Software game. The bosses are there at the bottom. I have only played through it once because it is extremely fucking hard, so keep that in mind. But if you want to do that, you can. Just keep in mind that I will be gone for a month. So just keep that in mind. I don't know how available I'll be. But Aldrich, he devoured Gwyndolin, so that's a positive. He's got like skulls in his body. He's like weird and sluggy. He's got the life staff, whatever staff, move, which he stole from Gwyndolin. It's all kind of cool. I just like the boss a lot. This is probably just more of my DS3 preference, but he's really great. Dancer, I think she's high up there, man. I think she's an A. Just a super elegant boss. And really hard to kind of nail down. She's, I think every time I fight her, I feel like it's hard, and I feel like I really enjoy myself. And her lore about why she's a dancer is cool too, going back to Pontiff. I think that people will probably dislike this rating, but I actually love Champion Gundyr. It taught me how to parry. It was actually super hard. What did we get the what? What was what for? I got what in capital letters over here? If I didn't change my bot settings. Oh, my dad is having knee surgery, and I have to go take care of him for basically 3 to 4 weeks until he's ready to be back on his own. Unfortunately, that is going to put my stream schedule on hold for about a month, but one of the blessings is it'll probably reset all my metrics, so that means I can come back and try to tackle stuff and just try to be stronger coming back. And we'll be doing all the same stuff. The Bloodborne randomizers will be going and all that kind of stuff. It's unfortunate, but we have to do what we got to do. But we'll come back, and I hope that everybody, will be coming back and looking forward to seeing some more of my content. So, but unfortunately, I got to take a break for a little while. But yeah, Champion Gundyr taught me how to parry. He's a hard boss. He's hyper aggressive. I got my ass beat by him for hours at one point. So, great. Oh, and this is just basically the S+ tier. Right here at the end. Gale is probably the most epic boss in all FromSoft history. He's pretty hard, and he's got a cape that hits you really weirdly, but his sword's cool, the arena's cool, the lightning coming down is cool, the OST is cool. Thank you, I appreciate that, man. I hope you'll stick around and wait for me to come back and still enjoy it when I get back. Gale is just is the perfect ending boss to the series. Just perfection. They did a great work with that. Nameless King, probably the most difficult main game boss of Dark Souls. Probably my favorite boss. He just mixes up slow attacks, fast attacks. He has the 2 phases. He's so strong. He can kill you in one fucking move. He's just absolutely, his hair, the fucking hair helmet thing. I don't know what the fuck that thing is, but it's great. He's just a great boss. Definitely S+. And then finally, the legend herself, Freed. If Gale wasn't in the game, she'd probably be the best DLC boss, possibly the best boss in the game. They're just, all 3 of them are just incredible. And she's just so quick and fast. There are some bad camera angles in that boss fight. That is a negative. But she is... I have fun fighting these bosses pretty much every time. Gale's sometimes a nuisance. I'm not personally as big of a fan, but in terms of just all the other implications, he's great. But Freed, the second phase sucks, but the first and third, especially the third phase is just epic. She's just so light on her feet, nimble, quick. It just makes for a really great boss fight. And now we get here. I don't know who Ashina Elite is. Miss Noble is, why is this in the game? Miss Noble, basically, you fall into an area, you backstab him, and then you hit him a few times and he dies. He's pretty fucking bad. I didn't... okay, Owl Father, I can't really give a decent enough rating because I did not fight him in the memory. So I can't really give him a proper go. I never fought Emma, but she is... I think she's only got 1 phase. Yeah, she's only got 1 phase, and then you go and fight Isha and Ashina. But I think it's pretty interesting that you can betray the kid, and then she has to fight you, but she tries her best. I think that's like the thing, is like she tries her best to protect the kid, the job that you were supposed to perform, and she's just, kind of too weak, but she gives her all. I think there's some good lore here. The fight seems pretty simple, though. Isha and Ashina. I can't... This one, I think, would be based on its difficulty to have to give it a rating, and I can't give it a rating that's good enough, unfortunately. Corrupted Monk. I'm going to put it in D tier because it's so easily manipulated. Like, you can drop attack it to get past phase 1. Then you can go up in the tree and drop attack it again to get past phase 2. And then you have to fight it regularly, but then you can just spam it with Firecracker. So it's very easily manipulated. I was never able to get the parry timing down. I definitely have to go back to Sekiro. But he's okay. Divine Dragon, why is this in the game? This is another just niche, stupid boss. Demon of Hatred, I'm going to put in B tier. The boss design is just incredible. Hard as shit. But you can actually make it just run off the side of the map, just like Yobu. Part of that kind of like mars its ability to be an A. I think it would be higher than that, but it's very easily manipulated into just killing itself. So, but like the fire rings, the arm, the weird arm that's kind of like Mattis, the 3 phases. It is a fucking tough boss fight. Also, it does fire damage to you, which is fucked up. Isha the Sword Saint. Okay. This might be the most difficult boss in all of Souls history. I spent hours fighting this motherfucker, and he's hard as shit. I beat it at a time where gibberish. Yeah, I know. I've only played through it once, but Ishin has 4 phases, and it progressively just gets more difficult each time. And I don't think I've ever been more happy to beat a boss than when I beat Ishin. He's kind of in Gale territory for how good the boss is to finish the game. Very, very good. Very, very challenging. You feel very great when you beat him, if you can beat him. He is hard as all shit. In fact, a lot of the bosses in this game are hard as all shit. The generals, I'm going to put that here. Chain Ogre has some bullshit hitboxes. You can cheese him out of his first phase. I would probably... Where do I have... Vanguard? Yeah, he's going to be with Vanguard. He's just the opening boss. What does this even say? Shinobi Hunt? I don't know what the fuck that is. We're putting it here. Blazing Bull. Not a great boss. Does fire damage. Is weak to thrust. Oh, I didn't know you were on Password Break. That's really fucking cool. But yeah, if you have the opportunity or access to it, I would say so. Let me know. I'm going to be here till Thursday. You can let me know how things are going. And if you want to contact me, you can always do so over Twitch PMs as well. Be happy to answer you. I'm also HulkSmash6969 on Twitter if you want to do that as well. Or it might be HulkSmash69691. Great Colored Carp. Don't know what the fuck that is. This guy, I fought this guy once. He's not really memorable, but he is hard as shit. I fought him when I didn't have the Makiri counter, so that shit was hard as fuck. He guards the house where you get your sword. Totally fucked up. The drunkards, I fought the one super early, so Jizu or whatever. They're okay. They have sweeping attacks. The one is guarded by a bunch of ads. It's an okay boss. These guys are hard as fuck. There's a bunch of them. It's kind of weird how they're just all lumping them together. They have a Makiri counter. I'm going to actually move this one up. Move that's really easy to exploit. Some of them are more difficult than others. It's hard to kind of give them a kind of generalized rating. I can't really say for these headlesses because I fought a bunch of them, but they are very fucking hard. Long Iron, Centipede, Giraffe. Once you can just kind of spam your block on them and they're easy to kill, and then you can firecrack them in the rest of the way. I'm just going through these really fast because I don't know them that well. Snake Eyes. There's one in the gun fort that's really hard, and there's one at the bottom of the fucking like poison area that's pretty fucking hard. I didn't fight her. I don't know what this is. I think this is the guy with the ball. Like he kicks the fucking electric ball at you. That's an E. It's an interesting concept, but it's not special. Gayubu. I like Gayubi. Gayubi. He's probably a C for me on the horse. He's just a basic enemy. But he's pretty cool. To put him above these guys is a little bit wrong. Probably Emma is wrong. But he has actually more phases, so I think that's okay. Can't really cheese him, so that's another... Well, that's a lie. You can cheese him. You can run him off the edge, so he goes down a tier. Lady Butterfly. I like Lady Butterfly. She's good. There's a lot of interesting mechanics with your arm that you can use with her. You can shoot her out of the air with your shurikens. You got to use the fucking seeds to get her to show herself. Pretty interesting boss fight. I like this one. Jinichiro, if you're Hob. I like Jinichiro a lot. He can't be that high. You know what? Actually, Hatred will go up a tier. And then Jinichiro will go here. He's probably the mid-game, like, hump boss that you got to get through. He is really hard. And I think that also goes for... Okay, so... Owl Father, they didn't seem to have a regular owl, so I'm going to put him with Jinichiro. They're basically the same boss. You fight them in the same area, but they are very hard. And they definitely teach you... Nope, I lied. Here's Great Shinobi Owl. Fuck me. I just looked at them and I couldn't see. I was just looking for Owl. Owl Father, I never fought. He turns into a fucking owl and shit, and that sounds pretty fucking cool, but I have not faced it, so... this is just a one-phase boss that is part of Isha Shina, so I'm going to put him at D. Why is this in the game? It's just a bullshit boss fight. Guardian Ape and Headless Ape. I don't know which one's which. I think Headless Ape, I was never able to beat this, like, legitimately. I had to, like, jump around. Like, you're supposed to block attacks and shit. And it's just super hard. But I do like it. And then this is just a rehash of that fight, but with two apes. And I don't like rehash fights, so that is going to be a D. So if we're going to do a quick roundup here... the entire game is just a parrying mechanic, yeah. Parrying, Makiri counter, and then dodging occasionally. It's going to be a long, like, I don't know if you'll be able to beat it in your pass over break. It's a hard game. Especially if you do the hardest the hardest ending. So these are our top tiers here. Coss, Maria, Gale, Nameless King, Freed, Ishin. These are definitely the best bosses that they came out with. These are also very good. These could vie for S+ as well. I like these a lot. I think people would probably disagree with Ebriidus and maybe Dark Lurker. And probably Dancer, but these are very good. These are good, but not necessarily in this tier. I like them a lot, though. Just average. Below average. And just the schlock. So I have basically just like 10 minutes. To kind of hang around. Let me know if you liked this kind of content, the tier list content. I could do it for some other things. I'd love to be able to make tier lists with maybe another friend or something. I had to think about what I can list out. I'm trying to see if we have people here who can kind of like tell me that they're here. I think Mark is here, Ryan is here, Michael, E-Boy, Ashley, Colin, maybe one other. Definitely appreciate you guys being here. If you like this content, let me know if you like it or if I should do some other stuff like this. I'd be happy to do it. And then, yeah, it's pretty fun. So I wanted to do Final Fantasy VII, the original, starting this week, but I wanted to give it more time than just 4 days. Maybe tomorrow, Mark, Colin, and I can kind of evaluate teams from our league if they're interested. I think that it could be kind of cool to judge teams. Maybe we could even rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. Thanks, Ashley. Appreciate that. If you guys are into that, we can maybe do that tomorrow and just kind of see where things stack up. Mark and I have to kind of fix some stuff on that league, though. So that would be a fantasy baseball thing. I think that's a positive reaction from Colin. But if the three of us wanted to get in that, we could take an hour, maybe an hour or 2 hours. That's kind of what I think the sweet spot is there, and just have a conversation about where we think the teams are and possibly rate them. And maybe we can do that tomorrow. We can talk more about that offline. But I would love to do more kind of ranking streams. And then I have Wednesday. If we do that tomorrow or Wednesday, then I just have 2 days to kind of figure out what content I'm doing. I could do another Bloodborne randomizer. There's also a bunch of other I could do a randomizer for Dark Souls 3 or something. I don't want to get into like the Augur of Darkness or any of the other stuff, but the Augur of Darkness is a Dark Souls 2 mod. I don't want to get into any mods because that'll take too many days. Cinders took me like a week to do, which I liked it, but it's just too long. So, anybody have any thoughts? Colin, are you down for that? Mark, if you're here, are you down for maybe doing like a evaluation of the teams in our league? A soft yes or no? This was a really great stream. We got a lot of... So far, I think this was the most consistent viewage. So that's pretty good. I didn't necessarily get to spend as much time as I wanted on certain bosses. I was trying to time myself. I had to be out of here by like 3:30. I have a Zoom meeting at 4, and I had to make sure I use the restroom, get water, all that kind of stuff. So Colin's interested. I'll hook up with Mark, see what he's thinking. But I'm glad this is pretty enjoyed content. Ashley, are you at work or are you off of work? I just had the Zoom meeting and then we can play Smite if everyone's down. I don't know what... so we'll be doing more Smite content or just more content in general tonight. I don't know what Ryan's doing either, but yeah. The Zoom meeting should just be about an hour. Well, unfortunately, I have a lot of hours with not a lot of viewage, but consistent 8 viewers for like an hour and a half to, you know, I had, so that's pretty good. Like we were up to 10 off, sweet. So if you want to play after, that's totally awesome. It's totally awesome. My Zoom meeting should just be from 4 to 5. Might be shorter than that. So, I don't think there's... Yeah, I don't think there's that much more to say. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's a shame that we're having one of my best viewage days right before... I don't know what we're TOSing about. But, what did I do something? What did you get from Chick-fil-A? I got like 6 minutes, so I'm just gonna bullshit and talk. I need to know about the TOS thing. You guys can play. I want to know what you got from Chick-fil-A. If you got the original chicken sandwich with no pickles, or the like combo one that's got Colby cheese on it, that one's pretty fucking good too. I will also fuck with chicken nuggets. Or if you have a cookies and cream shake, that also works. Are any of you going to answer me, or are you just going to talk to each other? I need some help here, boys and girls, okay? I need to know that Chick-fil-A order right now. I also have to use the restroom. Yeah, see? I was not begging for donations. That's bullshit. Oh, cookies. Dude, you know, nothing makes you feel better than giving to, like, some charity for them, and then they give you the cookies. The cookies are fucking lit. I don't like the pickles. I don't like fast food pickles. They're weird for me. I saw your answer. I said the Chick-fil-A deluxe sandwich is good, but my chat must have just been behind or something. What fast food places do you have in Israel? Do they have a kosher standard? So like if you go somewhere, is most things going to be kosher? Like no pork? I don't know exactly what meals would be excluded, but I know pork would probably be excluded. Admittedly, I don't know about kosher diet all that much. You just got KFC? KFC's not that exciting, but if you haven't had it, it might be exciting. We're back up to 10. This is sweet. Really appreciate you guys being here. It's a shame that I have to leave. I'd just be fucking jumping into some shit right now if, Yeah, in America we got all the stuff that can stop your heart. So, I don't eat that much fast food unless it's Panda Express. Goddamn, Panda Express got me by the balls. Popeyes is better, actually, low key. I love that chicken from Popeyes. Love that chicken from Popeyes. Ooh, problem is what? Maybe I should just sit on just chatting forever. I like Chick-fil-A's food, but I don't like their politics. So, sometimes you can remove one from the other, but they kind of like roll back their stuff on, like, their thoughts on gay people and stuff, but it's still not okay. I don't think I eat there very often, and I don't know if that's the reason, but it's one of the reasons. That sounds fucking awesome. Baguette schnitzel? Is that... But... Sounds good. Food's okay. It's okay. Well, Jesus Christ. That's not okay. So, the waffle fries are good, but they give you like 3 of them. I haven't had the spicy deluxe sandwich. I might need to check that out. Do you have a Chick-fil-A anywhere near you, Colin? Subway, literally every single one of their meats, no matter what you get, is actually secretly turkey. They have like a percentage of turkey in all their meats. It's really fucked up. It's kind of like how like Taco Bell. Taco Bell has the soy meat. Dude, you want to talk about spicy? Goddamn, Qdoba? Was it Qdoba? What's the other one? Qdoba and Chipotle? No, Chipotle. Chipotle's fucking bullshit. Like, I got that shit and I was like, holy shit. I usually am a Moe's man myself. Which, E-Boy, if you're unfamiliar, they're all just basically burrito places. But I got that shit and I was like, holy shit, that shit is on fire. My mouth is on fire. I don't know what yeah, I think it's the red sauce. That shit is fucking... I was on my knees being burned. What is CHUYS, Colin? What is that? Is that just a fucking misspelling? Mark, are you here now? I saw that you were peeping in just a second ago. What the fuck is Chewy's? Dude, Pizza Hut sucks in general. I like kind of doughy pizza, to be honest. I like doughy pizza, though. To be honest, how the fuck do I have 12 viewers? This is fucking amazing. Dude, you wonder why people do, like, this is no disrespect to anyone, but, like, low-quality content, like, in terms of just, like, rating things or something, it takes very little, you know, brain power or anything, whereas opposed to, like, when I'm playing, like, this only Dark Souls 3. That certainly takes a lot more. And here I am ranking shit, and everybody's coming out. I appreciate that. Oh, so you have a Domino's? I don't really go to Domino's that much. I'm a Papa John's man. I obviously rather have like an Italian place or like a Chicago deep. I think Chicago deep dish might be the S tier. Some people might argue it's not actually pizza, but you know. Oh, Chewy's is Tex-Mex? Papa John's is not the fucking best. It's the best, like, fast food pizza. I don't know, the Krusty Krab pizza, though. What the pizza? I don't want to make that generalization. I mean, I would say that over-sexualization probably helps, but there are some people on Twitch, specifically, that don't do that and get pretty good views. Oh, Chicken Little Dick. What's up, dude? Like, I would say, like, Sweet Anita, or even Sasha Grey, who, you know, obviously has porn in her past, but, she does not show, like, skin off on her stream, and she does really well. Now, it probably, I don't know about her stream specifically. She does grind, which is great, but she does not, do that to try to get views. I don't think we should, like, I don't want to, like, perpetuate the idea that women can only get views from doing stuff like that. There are plenty of women streamers who do great jobs streaming and stuff, you know. A lot of them, like, I've seen chicks or females playing Dark Souls, doing it on a dance pad, for fuck's sake. I've seen dudes do it too. Lil Aggie, Biotic Nova, she's a female streamer. There's a lot of people doing great stuff that are females that don't require them to be, you know, showing skin and stuff like that. Blueberry Brioche, she's the nicest person. I literally can't stop watching because she's the nicest person. She makes you feel good about yourself. So humble. It's just great. And she's basically a doctor. Plays video games too. I think I just said it, but you might be a little bit behind me, Michael. All right, I actually have to go, but this has been really great. I'll be thinking about what we're going to do tomorrow. Smite tonight. Hopefully we can keep up this viewage. Thanks, boys and girls. I'll see you guys later.